Welcome back everyone, and today you've landed on Power Ride, the place where we dive into the boldest, strongest, and most unbelievable machines the automotive world can throw at us. And buckle up because what I'm about to walk you through might just shake up everything you thought you knew about pickup trucks. Because the 2026 Ford Ranger is not just another facelift or another mid-cycle refresh. This is a statement, a declaration that Ford wants to dominate the midsize pickup segment once again. And if you think you know the Ranger, let me warn you now. You don't. Not this one. Because what I saw and experienced left me shocked, impressed, and in some moments even skeptical about whether I was still behind the wheel of a truck or something far beyond that. And before we get too deep, let me just say wait until I tell you the actual price. Because I won't reveal it right now. I'll leave that twist for later in this video. And trust me, you won't believe it when you hear it, so don't skip ahead. Stay with me, because the surprises are layered, and you'll miss the shocking parts that make the 2026 Ranger a truck people will be talking about for years. Now let's dive into what makes this machine special. Starting with the design, because when you first see it on the road you immediately realize Ford has taken a bold gamble. It's bigger, wider, the stance is aggressive, but it's not just aggression for the sake of aggression. It's sculpted, aerodynamic, and futuristic in a way you wouldn't expect from a truck that has always been about rugged practicality. And I'll be honest with you, when I first saw the front grille I thought, wait a second, is this really a Ranger or did Ford just shrink down a Raptor and put it in disguise? Because the headlights stretch with that signature C-clamp design, but now they've been sharpened. Almost like the truck is squinting at you, daring you to challenge it. And then the hood, muscular, with subtle vents that aren't there for looks. They actually channel airflow, improving efficiency. And when you see it head-on in your rearview mirror, trust me, you will want to move aside because this thing announces its presence in a way no previous Ranger ever did. And while the exterior screams toughness, there's also refinement, with LED lighting that blends into the body lines, and a side profile that looks more SUV-like than ever. Almost as if Ford decided the Ranger had to carry the presence of an F-150 but in a more manageable size. And for those of you wondering about practicality, let me just tell you, the bed isn't just a bed anymore. It's a tool, a workspace, a clever set of features hidden within what looks like a traditional design. But I'll get into that later because the shocks don't stop here. In fact, they're only just beginning. And as we talk about shocks, let me add a quick hook. Did you know Ford is quietly experimenting with a hybrid Ranger that might not even be marketed as a hybrid? Yes, you heard that right. They're sneaking electrification under the skin in a way that will catch competitors off guard. But I'll get to the engines in a moment. First, let me tell you what happened when I stood next to the Ranger for the first time. The proportions made me feel like I wasn't just looking at a pickup. I was standing next to a challenge, as if Ford was telling Toyota Helix and Chevy Colorado, hey guys, step aside, because we're coming to eat your lunch. And the 2026 Ranger does exactly that with a design language that is both American boldness and global sensibility. Because remember, the Ranger is not just a US truck, it's sold worldwide, so it has to appeal to diverse markets. And yet, somehow, Ford nailed it with a look that manages to blend sophistication and raw muscle. But that's just scratching the surface, because once you hear what's under the hood, your jaw might just drop. Mine almost did. Because Ford has gone beyond the usual engine options. And while I'll reveal the shocking details soon, let me build the suspense, because we need to go step by step. The engines are where Ford has planted the biggest surprises, and one of them is something I'm not sure everyone will be ready for. But before that, let's not forget comfort, because a truck this size has to balance work and play. And yes, I'll cover the interior quickly because I know you're waiting for the juicy details on performance and technology. So when I stepped inside the 2026 Ranger, I immediately noticed how short and simple the design philosophy was. Ford didn't overcomplicate it. They gave you clean lines, a massive vertical touchscreen, the latest sync system, and quality materials. Nothing too flashy. Just enough to remind you that you're in a modern vehicle. And honestly, that's all it needed, because the Ranger is about the drive and the power, not about overloading you with luxury. So that's all I'll say about the cabin for now, because this review is about the things that will make you gasp, not the cup holders. So let's get into the real meat, the engines. And this is where the Ranger's identity shifts dramatically. Because for years it was about practical four-cylinder diesels or maybe a V6 in some markets, but now Ford has decided to throw the rulebook out the window. And here's where it gets shocking, because one of the options that insiders are whispering about is a turbocharged four-cylinder hybrid that delivers power figures previously unheard of in this segment. We're talking torque levels that rival what used to be V6 outputs. And that's not even the craziest part, because there's also talk of a plug-in hybrid version that could give you electric-only driving for short city trips. And here's the twist: Ford isn't even shouting about it yet. They're keeping it quiet, almost like they want to spring it on the competition at the last moment. And if that doesn't already shake your expectations, wait until I tell you about the performance variant, the Ranger Raptor 2026, because that's where Ford basically said, let's take a Baja truck and put it on the road. And boy, did they deliver. Twin-turbo V6 power, suspension tuned for jumping dunes, a growl that will make you forget you're in a midsize truck. And here's the kicker: it's not just performance for the desert, it's refined enough for daily driving, meaning you can crawl through traffic with the same truck that can leap off-road trails like a trophy truck. And to me, that's mind-blowing, because in one package Ford has given you a truck that can work, play, and shock everyone who thinks midsize pickups are boring. But hold up. I promised you a twist. And it's coming. Because somewhere in this review I will tell you the price. And when I do, you'll probably have the same reaction I had, which was pure disbelief. But before I spoil that moment, let's keep building the suspense. Because beyond engines, Ford has loaded the Ranger with tech features that feel almost futuristic for a truck. Imagine advanced driver assistance systems that don't just keep you in your lane but actually anticipate curves and adjust throttle response, or over-the-air updates that can boost your horsepower without you ever stepping into a dealership. Yes, that's the direction Ford is going, and the Ranger is the proof. And I know some of you are skeptical right now, thinking I'm exaggerating, but wait until you see the evidence rolling out in dealerships. It's going to shock the pickup world. Because we're no longer talking about a barebones workhorse, we're talking about a smart, connected, and almost living machine that evolves with time. And when you think about that, doesn't it make you wonder what trucks will even mean 5 years from now? Because the 2026 Ranger is setting that tone today. But let me not drift too far, because I still owe you the numbers, the gritty, shocking numbers, and yes, the prices among them. So let's stay tuned, because it's about to get intense.